How's it going, everybody? It's Cody Condor and welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited about this video because it's my first time branching away from chaotic and into another area of interest of mine, the Bakugan Battle Brawlers. I was obsessed with this show as a kid, and as you can tell by me making this video, that enthusiasm is carried over. The show was a great watch. It lasted 4 seasons, and if you haven't seen it, I recommend you check it out. Now, the toys. They didn't always open as they were advertised to, but we made them work.
You can just call me Gorem.
We're starting off with Tigrerra Gorem, one of my personal favorite Bakugan of all time for good reason. He looks pretty accurate to his on-screen counterpart, and he's pretty representative of his battle form that you'll see on the left. Gorem has an awesome design. He's famous for the shield on one hand and these 2 giant fists for fighting, and those are represented pretty well on the toy version. He's even got the little mossy shoulders just like in the show. What he's most famous for is being Julie's favorite Bakugan.
Julie, I'm here.
Gorem was a giant compared to most Bakugan he played against, and it was confirmed that his shield reduces the G power of any Bakugan that hits it. Moving on to our second member of the main group, Tigrerra, a very powerful Bakugan with a beautiful ball form, white and gold. Tigrerra belongs to Runo, the only other female member in the group other than Julie. She was protective of Runo and often gave her advice. I think the toy version is very accurate to the on-screen ball version we see in the show, and I think it does a great job of hinting at the battle form as well. It looks a lot like a tiger. It's got the claws in the front, the unique headpiece, a tail at the back, some stripes on the back of it. I think it has a real animalistic look to it, and it ends up being one of my favorite designed Bakugan of all time, certainly within the main group. Now, it's actually said on the Bakugan wiki that Tigrerra has a blade within her body that is capable of cutting any substance in the human world. She's an awesome toy, a great character, and one that I'm happy to have in my collection. And now on to the first of our big 3, Preyas Dragonoid. This is the main character of the series. If you took a trip to Toys R Us to buy some Bakugan, you saw Drago on the display. I tried over and over to find this as a kid, and I never got my hands on it, so there's a lot of satisfaction being able to make a video about it now. They made sure that this main character's Bakugan looked as closely as possible to the on-screen counterpart. And his battle form? Well, it was a giant cool red dragon. He belonged to the main character, and that main character was Dan, probably the second coolest human character of the show. The Drago you see on screen is actually his original form. The one I'm using in this video, well, that's Delta Dragonoid, his second form. The one he turned into after his first evolution. Can you imagine being a kid and seeing this? The steel claws, steel mouth, blue eyes. I love this design. My personal favorite Drago that they ever released. We had so many different moments with this character, it's hard not to fall in love with him. And he was extremely powerful in the TV series. And that brings us to the Bakugan with the best backstory in the entire show, Ventus Skyress, who of course goes hand in hand with her owner, the best written character in the entire TV series, Shun. Shun is a badass in every sense of the word.
Wait a minute, they got it,
I could talk about this Bakugan for hours. The resemblance that Skyress has to her on-screen ball form is uncanny. I think it's very well designed. Her battle form is probably the coolest in the entire series. She's a magnificent green phoenix-like bird, with the ability, like a real phoenix, to rise from the ashes if defeated in battle. Now back to Shun. The story of Shun and Skyress is actually a tragic one. He rushed to the hospital to see his mother. Shun's mother tragically dies, or goes into a coma depending on the version you watch, but not before giving him Skyress. And thus, a bond was created. Shun and Skyress share a really special relationship. He ponders a lot. He's often unsure of himself, and Skyress is there to give him advice. But Shun is no pushover by any means. He's a fierce warrior, and when that confidence comes out, it makes for some of the best moments in the entire show. And we didn't even talk about how cool Skyress looks in battle. She emerges out of the clouds after shooting green lightning into the sky. A fittingly legendary entrance for a legendary Bakugan.
But why did you shut out your friends? You loved battle.
Keep an eye out for a future Skyress video. And that brings us to Preyas, my favorite Bakugan in the history of the franchise. He's the only Bakugan that can peek through at you in his ball form, as you can see through this hole at the top. And I just love this character. I used to draw pictures of him, watch YouTube videos of him, I loved all of his episodes. I just really love Preyas. Now the pressure's on in this video to sell you guys on why I think he's so cool, and I'll do my best. He's got a really unique ability that we're going to cover later on, so stay tuned for that.
Here comes lunch again!
I love the ball form of Preyas, and I think it looks exactly like his anime version, just like Skyress. On the right you can see he's a humanoid chameleon-like monster, and that plays a big factor in the ability he has. It took me a couple separate eBay orders to get my hands on this. Story for another time. Now Preyas is the guardian Bakugan for Marucho, and they have a really special relationship. I find it pretty funny that the rich kid in the group gets the goofball Bakugan who doesn't want to obey him. Now let's talk about my personal favorite part of this character, his special ability. Preyas was able to change to any of the 6 attributes. As you can see on the left, this would completely alter his appearance, and he's the only Bakugan in the show who was able to do it. According to the Bakugan wiki, Preyas would change his molecular structure in order to achieve this ability. And I love that it's included in the toy form. His appearance in the TV series is just memorable. That's the only way I can describe it. There was times he didn't want to battle.
Show! Don't touch that remote, kiddies! Come on, soldier, look alive! Lift those knees! Move it, move it, move it! I can't hear! That's gonna hurt.
And he was just fun to have around. The way he would interact with other Bakugan was pretty funny as well. And that concludes our coverage of the Bakugan Battle Brawlers. I had a great time doing this video. It took a little bit longer than expected, but it was really fun revisiting this content, and it's not the last time I'll be doing a Bakugan video. As I said earlier, I'd like to talk more about Skyress, and who knows what other topics we'll cover. That's where you guys come in. Feel free to comment down below whatever you'd like to see in a future video, whether it's Bakugan or a different franchise that you feel nostalgic for. Let's take a look at it. I'll see you all in the next video.
Real touching! Now, what do you say we get our little heinies out of here? Lickety split, huh?